I'd like to call this Delaware County Commissioners meeting to order. It's Monday, August 7th, 2017. The time is 9:02. If everybody stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Henry.
Here.
Mr. Reagan.
Present.
Mr. King.
Here.
Mr. Rett.
Here. First off, we got a public hearing application for assignment of tax sale certificates to a nonprofit corporation. Yes, sir. Can you state your name
Douglas Howard,
and address?
3707 East Wilson Road, Muncie, Indiana.
Are you the nonprofit organization
President.
president? Okay, could you explain a little bit to us what you would
Okay.
do with the property?
What we anticipated on doing with the property is to turn it into a small business incubator. I personally own and have turned over to the non-for-profit my two businesses, Ashbury Florist and Doug's Grooming. We would like to relocate those to the property, and we have plenty of space for other businesses to move in and occupy and lease part of the property. The property has a large open area with covered roof for outdoor. We have a garden center, so we're going to use the open part for the garden center. But right now we've been hitting the biggest obstacle has been the taxes. The taxes were on the property when it was given to us. They were supposed to have been taken care of by the previous owner. They were not taken care of. The property was since sold in a tax sale, which was deemed invalid. We thought we had lost the property, so we did nothing with the property. And then we were informed that we own the property again, so we're back to square one. So far, we've cleaned out the property and taken off the back part, which was in need of coming down. Right now, someone has filled the main part of the building with tires. They broke in and filled it full of marked tires from where the city marks tires. So we have to overcome that and figure out a way to get rid of the tires. But we run solely on donations and the two businesses that we do run.
Janet?
Yeah, I want to explain to you, this property wasn't in the nonprofit name, it's in a different name. So this is why he's trying to apply for it. He was given the property by a tax sale buyer, and he was supposed to pay the taxes. But I guess the main thing is that you should know is that the property right now is not in the name of the nonprofit. Okay?
That's one of the things that I wanted to ask, because he was saying that he owned the property now.
We were a for-profit before. We transitioned over the first of last year to a non-for-profit.
I'd like to know what type of business it's going to be. I mean, what's the objective?
Well, right now I own Doug's Pet Grooming, which I've given to the non-for-profit, and Ashbury Florist and Garden Center.
So I noticed that you didn't do the filing until January of this year, so you have a board of directors? And
Yes.
I've been around here a long time, and I just have never heard of your function.
Yeah, we have been, before we were for profit.
Well, I understand that.
Yeah.
I mean, where are you getting your volunteers?
So far it's been people that have been in part of what we've done. Right now we have a couple of board members that are neighbors that want to see things done with the property, and then lots of family too.
So you, you own the property,
It was given to us,
it was
yes.
given to you,
Yes,
then you changed to a nonprofit, correct?
right.
And now you want us to give you the property under the nonprofit when you actually own. Have you been paying taxes on the property?
No, the property was sold in a tax sale, so we didn't think we owned it. Then they deemed the tax sale was invalid, so at the time, we weren't even aware we still owned the property.
Okay. How long have you owned the property?
It'll be 3 years this year.
Have you ever paid taxes any on the property within the 3 years?
No, it went through a tax sale shortly after we got it.
Then when did you find out that you received the property back?
About a year later.
Okay. So there, a year or two, somewhere in between there, that you knew that you owned the property
Yes.
and never paid any taxes on the property?
Right, but we were trying to get the former owner to live up to his responsibilities of paying the taxes, which we couldn't do.
And you was a profit, right?
Yes,
And then you switched to the nonprofit.
yes, we do livestock and animal rescue, domestic animals.
Okay. Is there anybody here against it? Do you have anything else to answer?
No, it's just the property has sit vacant for about 15 years, and we do have a use for the property, and it's not going, I mean, it's went through 3 tax sales. The last 2 it didn't sell, so we have mowed it, cleaned it out, tore off the back of it, and tried to maintain it even though it's legally not our property. But we would like to utilize the property and get it back where something can be done with it.
Okay, I understand, sir.
Do you have any paid staff?
No, we're all volunteers.
So no one's,
But the building is big enough where if someone leased a space, they could put in a business. There's like one section is a garage space, but it's a huge space, so it would be where another business could come in and rent the space and create jobs too, and help small businesses take off.
Anything else?
I didn't get to drive out to buy it.
This is just a
Hearing the,
hearing. We won't really vote on that one.
I move we close the hearing.
Hold on, Sherry. Janet?
I was just gonna tell you, there's a resolution, you could table the resolution
Yeah,
if you
Yeah.
wanted
yeah,
to.
that's, I move we close the public hearing.
I'll second
Have a motion and a second. Steve, can you call the roll?
it. Ms. Reagan,
Yes,
Mr. Henry,
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next, we have appointments. We have 2 spots on the Civic Center Authority Board. I'd like to get a motion to nominate Scott Alexander, Harry Malco for it.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second
Have a motion and a second. Carrie,
They're both here.
Thank you. My name is Kerry Malco. Address is 7501 West County Road 750 North, Gaston, Indiana. I appreciate the opportunity for this. There's a couple questions I do have. The term that it serves.
I believe, is it a 2-year or 4-year term on there?
I can find that out quickly.
Okay, we can find that out pretty quick. I think it's a 2-year.
Okay. The other thing is, what does it oversee? I assume one of them is the Horizon Convention Center.
Correct.
The reason why I ask that is because I own a couple of businesses in town that does do business with the Horizon Convention Center.
And I believe we discussed this. He would just need to fill out a conflict of interest form, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
On that, and then you'd be good to serve on the board.
Well, I wanted to ask that in question, or in public here. My business currently does between $400 and $500 a year. I own the outfitter as well as the Barking Cow. The outfitter has provided some shirts for Horizon Convention Center, and then the Barking Cow has provided some food for the Horizon Convention Center.
They are 2-year terms.
It's 2-year term, Gary.
And then when does the 2-year term start?
Would have been July, I
Well,
believe.
yeah. You would start, I believe their next meeting is August 17th. That's the third Wednesday at 4:30 p.m.
And location of meeting?
at the Horizon Convention Center.
Is there a certain room that they meet in?
I can get you all that information.
If you want to stop by the commissioner's office after the meeting, I can get more details for you.
I'll be taken off before the meeting's over with, so
Okay.
if James or somebody can
I
provide
can
that for
forward
me,
you the information.
I appreciate it. I'll get it. Okay. Is there any questions that the board members have for me?
Just ask any question, be accountable. Appreciate your volunteering.
Just do your due diligence on everything. And we appreciate your service.
Not a problem, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a motion and a second. Steve, can you call the roll?
Mr. Henry,
Yes.
Ms. Reagan,
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes. Thanks, Scott, Carrie. Appreciate it. Next, we have table business. We have an agreement for collections of personal property taxes. Go ahead and keep it tabled.
I want to keep the table, yeah.
Okay. And next, also under table business, we have ordinance number 2017-017A. Ordinance amending section 181 of Delaware County Code of Ordinance regarding copy fees. We'll just go ahead and need a motion to keep them both tabled.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Steve, can you call the roll?
Ms. Reagan,
Yes.
Mr. Henry,
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes. Next, we have approval of minutes for July 17, 2017.
So move.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Steve, can you call the roll, please?
Ms. Reagan,
Yes.
Mr. Henry,
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes. Next, we have presentations to commissioners, American Structure Point, IT.
Jumped up here real quick. Morning, everyone. My name is Andrew Everhart. I'm Principal Consultant at American Structure Point. Some of you may know American Structure Point in the area. We do roads and bridges and civil engineering. We also have an IT consulting wing that's been operating for about 13 years. And I want to talk to you today a little bit about a service that we provide and a proposal that we've given to the commissioners. Structure Point started in 1966. Our IT services division started, for professional services, started about 13 years ago. We all are certified professionals, Microsoft, Cisco, the different vendors. We do not sell hardware and software. We typically, what we do, we provide consulting services. So in this case, we would be doing a kind of a deep dive analysis of the IT systems, looking for any issues that might be there, come up with solutions, work with the IT department to address those issues, have a long-term plan on how to get things, get the ship righted. What we do in an assessment, again, we do a deep dive. We get in and look at all the hardware, all the software. We check existing contracts to see if there's any opportunities for savings, whether it be software, telecommunications, things like that. We also identify best practice issues. It's kind of the term we use in the industry, that this is when you have a best practice scenario, this is kind of how the software, hardware is designed to work. So any deviation of that sometimes works, sometimes it doesn't work. And so we try to identify where these issues might be. We also look at the IT budget and see where it lines up with other communities and counties of similar size with staff and residents. So what we do is we meet with all the different department heads. We get their take on how the systems are working, any issues that they might have that need to be addressed or concerns that they have. We evaluate all the systems within the county, IT systems. We create system diagrams of how everything works, how everything's connected, where the trouble spots are. We typically color code things red, green, yellow. Red obviously is a problem, yellow is something we want to look at, green, everything's fine. Again, we look at the different budgets and make sure that they're in line where they should be. We also verify software licensing, which makes sure everything's in compliance. If there's any opportunity, again, to make adjustments to the licensing to potentially save money. We analyze all the data, we create a formal document, and about 90 days later, we actually give a presentation of what we found, what our recommendations are. So what we deliver to you is an executive summary. That's kind of the high level, maybe 4 or 5 pages of high level view of here's what we found. And then we also have a very large document with detailed findings that has, again, network diagrams. We come up with project plans on how to resolve these issues. We do a budgetary overview of where we think things might need to change or where things are working great. We identify what's working fine and we make recommendations for improvement. So we've presented the commissioners with a proposal for the service. Anybody have any questions?
But I do like your 90 days that we'll have an answer.
Definitely.
A long-range plan. We don't do enough planning around here, and IT is so important. Keeping up with it.
Right.
It's just mind-boggling.
So currently, the county has no, we have no idea of our, anything we have as far as IT goes. Apparently, there's not been any audit done that we're aware of in several years, if ever. I think it'd be an important,
Beneficial to the
it'd be
county.
beneficial to the county and possibly save us money, something like that.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion that we hire American Structure to do IT.
I want to comment further here. With this agreement, it's professional fees for the scope of services described will be billed for the hours expended on this project or estimated range between $20,000 and $25,000. Fees will not exceed $25,000 without the written consent of the county. So that's your projected cost, correct?
No.
What did I read?
You got Crow and Horwood?
Yeah.
I don't think we have one from Structure Point yet.
Oh, we don't. We don't have one.
Okay, I'll make sure you get one then. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys have one?
Yeah, you could force a
It's
contract.
about, what, 30?
No, it's
You-
more than.
What, was it 55?
50.
57.5.
57.5.
Yes.
Yeah, could you forward us a contract? That way we can send it to our attorney and our attorney can look it over and can advise us.
Next
Further.
meeting.
We'll do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. I do think it is an important
It is very important.
for us to get.
Next, we have agreement between the Delaware County Board of Commissioners and well, you didn't second our budget, did you?
No.
Yeah,
That was-
yeah, move on.
Agreement between the Delaware County Board of Commissioners and Crow Horwath, pursuant to which Crow will perform certain professional services regarding Delaware County Regional Water and Sewer District. This is the one that you.
This is the one I read.
Is someone here from them?
I don't believe so. What this is we've been requesting an audit of the Delaware County Regional Wastewater to look into expenditures, money that's on hand. I know we've been asking for this, I don't know, maybe a year to 6 months.
Quite some time. This is estimated between $20,000 and $25,000, not to exceed $25,000.
You know, Mr. President, I do appreciate this evaluation of the proposed rate, but I'd like to strike out where it says increase and just leave it evaluation of the proposed rate for Delaware County Regional. There's no reason to put the word increase in this proposal.
Joe, we could have that taken out and you could take it back, correct? We could approve it with having that amended, that the increase will be removed.
Wherever
And
printed.
I think that may be a misprint, because we've never.
Well, it just doesn't need to be in there.
We've never talked about the increasing.
I understand,
Those rates.
but why did they put it in here? So
And,
I don't.
and you can make that motion, Sherry,
I don't think it needs a
To read.
motion, I mean, just,
to remove the increase.
I'll make a motion to have a new evaluation printed up with just rate, proposed rate.
Okay, we want to, and you want to accept that also, right?
I
The
will,
20 to
the
25,000.
evaluation of the proposed rate for the Delaware County Regional Water Sewer District.
But what he's saying, we can approve the contract with it being amended
As, yes,
with the rate increase being
I will-
removed at
I will do
everywhere that
that.
it's in the agreement, correct?
I will make that motion.
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I forget how many days that was gonna take.
Steve, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Henry,
Yes.
Ms. Reagan,
Yes,
Mr. King,
Yes. Joe, can you contact them and make sure that where it says rate increase is removed?
just increase, remove. Thank you.
Next, we have Ashton Land Surveyors, Troyer and Stewart Edition.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm Kathy Van Ice from Ashton Land Surveyors, 325 West Washington Street, Muncie, Indiana. You all have a copy of the plat. What we are doing is one lot administrative plat, and we have to dedicate the 25-foot road frontage to the county per the ordinance, and that's what I have copies of, the originals that I need signed today, if you don't.
Sounds simple.
You want to just make a motion and we'll sign it afterwards?
You have the original?
She brought it with
I
her.
She's got the
You have the
original copies
original?
there.
Yeah.
I make a motion, we approve it.
Second,
A motion and a second. Steve, can you call the roll, please?
Ms. Reagan,
yes.
Mr. Henry,
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes. Next, we have agreement for professional services with CHA Consulting for Delaware County Bridge 161.
Good morning, Commissioners. Earlier this year, we discontinued an existing contract with HWC Engineering, and I've been in contact and spent a lot of time with CHA, which we have two representatives here. If you have any questions, Trevor and Katie. They have proposed an agreement. I've looked it over. I've given it to Tom and Joe for review. But this is just to cover professional services to develop an alternatives analysis and preparation and processing of an approved NEPA CE4 document. So once we go through that process and get approval, then I will have to come back for a supplemental for finalized design and the bidding documents and the inspection documents. This contract is not to exceed $184,400.
Well, just for the record, I would like to state that this has been on the books for 14, 17 years.
Long time.
Years.
And we have spent amount of money to get to this stage. Will we be able to recoup any of that previous work for any of this?
That's our goal, yes, that's our goal, unless NEPA comes back, and Trevor, you might want to add to it, but if they say, hey, we do not want you to replace the bridge, we want you to bypass it, leave it in place,
Well,
and force us, then that would change the design.
Yeah, there's an alternatives analysis that you go through as part of the NEPA.
You might want to go.
Oh, sorry. I'm usually pretty loud, so, but yeah, I'm Trevor Wizicki with CHA, and I'm one of the environmental planners. And as part of the NEPA process, there's an alternatives analysis. And it looked like the other firm that you guys were using had started that process, hadn't gotten very far with the actual alternatives analysis, but had kind of moved along with some design. So they have some design for an alternative. We need to kind of go back and actually look and make sure that that alternative is the appropriate alternative for the bridge crossing. So we'll use some of their information to start that process, and work with our historians to make sure that we follow the process, and hopefully get this wrapped up for you guys. Because like you said, it looks like it's been on the books for quite a while, and hopefully we can take it and get it done.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to hear that you're going to be able to use some of the work that's been done.
Thanks, Trevor.
Thanks.
I'll make a motion to approve the agreement.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Steve, can you call the roll?
Ms. Reagan,
Yes.
Mr. Henry,
Yes.
Mr. King,
Yes. Next, we have agreement for professional services with Lockmuller Group for small structures.
Yes, this covers all structures that are not qualified as a bridge. So it's less than a span of 20 feet. And will range between 6 feet to 20 feet on our inspections. They will also provide, this will coordinate with our GIS data. There'll be a mobile app so our inspectors can use this out in the field and evaluate when we, observing the structures declining and if it needs replaced or not. I've also spoke with Marta Moody, and she's looking at planning funds. She'd like to help us with this.
Good.
I just don't have that amount yet in front of me, but I currently have the funds budgeted so we can get started. And it's a 4-phase project, not to exceed $50,000 per year for 4 years.
And I do appreciate this because this will save us tearing up a road that we won't mention which one. This is going to be up on the north part of town real soon.
I'll make a motion to approve the agreement.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Steve, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Henry,
Yes.
Ms. Reagan,
Yes.
Mr. King,
Yes.
Do you
Next
want
week.
to lump those all together, the next ones? Just thought, sorry to save you time.
Good.
Yeah, we can.
And if I could squeeze one more in. Bridge 226 for a James Eddie Terry.
To 226.
Yes, the first 3 are for Bridge 141 located on Tiger Drive. And the last one, this is the last parcel we need to secure
That you just found out
No,
about.
just-
for Bridge
okay.
226.
Let me see, should we list that?
what was the
Mr.
name
Terry.
on that, Angie?
I'm sorry?
What was the name on that?
James Eddie, E-D-D-I-E, Terry, T-E-R-R-Y,
And what bridge number?
226.
226.
So we have warranty deeds for Doris and L. Humbert and Stephen J. Humbert, Bridge 141. Permanent acquisition, we have temporary highway easement grant, Doris L. and Steve J. Humbert, Bridge 141. Warranty deed, Henry and Sheila Bell, Bridge 141. Acquisition, and now Bridge 226, James Eddie Terry.
So move.
Second.
Motion and a second. Steve, can you call the roll?
Ms. Reagan,
Yes.
Mr. Henry,
Yes.
Mr. King,
Yes.
Thank you.
Next, we have master equipment lease purchase agreement.
Good morning, Chair McCormick, Financial Manager, Community Corrections. This is just the formal paperwork for the purchase of our 2017 Ford Explorer, which is in and will pick up Wednesday out at Dallin.
I'll make a motion we approve the lease.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Steve, can you call the roll?
Mr. Henry,
Yes.
Ms. Reagan,
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next, we'll move on to resolutions for approval. We have resolution number 2017-033, Board of Commissioners of Delaware County, Indiana regarding an establishing of the 6928 Gaston Economic Development Area.
Commissioner Brad Bookout with Delaware County Economic Development. I appreciate your consideration of this. We had some discussion at a previous meeting about this. I'm happy to answer any questions.
How many acres does that take in, Brent?
At least 1,000.
I'll make a a motion to approve the resolution.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Steve, can you call the roll?
Ms. Reagan,
Yes.
Mr. Henry,
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brad.
Chair, I think this one coming
I
up
think it is
here is
too.
the one that you want to,
Yeah, I just,
you want to make a motion to table it?
I'll make that motion.
second.
Have a motion and a second to table resolution 2017-034. Steve, can you call the roll?
Ms. Reagan,
Yes.
Mr. Henry,
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes. Next, we have resolution number 2017-035, resolution of the Board of Commissioners of Delaware County, Indiana, transferring property deeded in the Board of Commissioners' name to the City of Muncie's Redevelopment Commission.
Good morning. Zane Bishop, Muncie Redevelopment Commission. The property that we're requesting is already owned by the commissioners, and it's at 609 South Brady. This is adjacent to our property that we own that we tore down through a hardest hit fund at 605 South Brady. It is also across the alley from 1520 East Kirby, which we also tore down using hardest hit funds. So this will just help and make a nicer side lot or maybe an additional new build next to our property at 605 South Brady.
So you think it will be a building? It's not,
Yeah, that's the hope. That's the hope. We don't have anything official, but that's our goal.
I'll move
And the property be deeded over to the City of Muncie's Redevelopment Commission.
Correct.
Would you maybe like give it to a nonprofit like Habitat or something maybe down the road? Or?
Yeah, it's possible that we'll partner with a nonprofit or a private developer who would do new construction. Nothing on the books, but I know the commissioners have owned this property for a while and have been maintaining it, and this is strategic for us.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Actually, the only way we could table this, and I would like to look into a couple other things before moving forward with this one.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second to table. Steve, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Henry,
Yes.
Ms. Reagan.
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes, we'll bring this back up at the next meeting.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have resolution of Board of Commissioners to Delaware County identifying a tax sale certificate to be assigned to a nonprofit corporation.
I think we take it all
No, this one here from Mount Pleasant.
on.
Morning, Commissioners.
All right.
Bill Walters, East Central Indiana Regional Planning District. This is the property to old CR3 tire facility we've been working on. We now have 2 businesses interested in that. We did make contact as requested in California. She picked the letter up, but no response. So we were asking for the certificate at this time.
Put it back on the tax roll. Payment.
I make a motion to approve resolution 2017-036.
I'll second that.
Have a motion and a second. Steve, can you call the roll, please?
Ms. Reagan,
Yes.
Mr. Henry,
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes. Next, we'll move to department heads and elected officials. We received a letter back on the 25th of July from a Faye Buchanan for our dedicated Veterans Affairs Office. I'd like to read it. It says, Honorable Commissioners, as a widow of a deceased Marine, I was in the Veterans Office for information concerning about benefits from the VA. I wish to express my appreciation for the great service, kindness, and helpfulness, photocopies of my Marine husband, and information given to me by the men in the Veterans Affairs Office. I also appreciate the service these men rendered to our country and am impressed by their military service and also for their skillful work in the office. Their help to me was invaluable, and I am glad they are employed at the VA to serve in this capacity. Doing a great job, Nate.
Good job,
You and the
guys.
guys down there are doing a great job. For everybody to know too, now we have Inward Bound.
Yes.
That is in the office. And once again, thanks Melanie for giving up some office space for these guys to help our veterans here in Delaware County. It's great when you get letters like this. I know in the past I used to get phone calls every once in a while that the office was closed and where's Nate, and you know, it was great to tell everybody that a veteran needed to move and Nate and his group was out there moving that veteran. Or out at some of the nursing homes and stuff. Nate's out there, he's helping our veterans.
Well, he's also a court.
Yep. We have the Veterans Drug Court now. He's over there. I can say he's out and about, him and the guys that work for him. They do a great job for our veterans in this county. And I'm very pleased with the work that you do, Nate, and thank you. And go back and tell your guys, you guys are doing a wonderful job. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
I do appreciate what Nate has done, although I do think we need to make him more of a PR piece, that the appointments are set up by phone, and that if anybody happens to come down here and the office is closed, we're sorry, but we just need to do more PR, that it's by appointments and not walk-ins.
Yeah. And I'll tell you something that's really great too, is Jenny being our office manager. She came from up there at Nate's office. She does a wonderful job too. And if it's closed there, I know they come up to your office, you can explain everything to them also.
We could put that on the door.
Nate Jones, Delaware County Veterans Affairs Officer. The big thing now, beforehand where we had a problem is we didn't have the people in there to really help us. At this point, people are able to walk in. The problem is that if we have scheduled appointments at that time, we may have to have them sit, wait, or possibly come back. We've gotten with the VA, it is posted on the VA's website, and actually most offices are now doing appointment base.
Right.
But if we could do something here, if you guys would be willing to let me put something in the paper.
I think that's what we need to do, and I think like if Jenny would let, you know, if we could put on there, go to the commissioner's office,
Yep.
and at least.
We can find the funding to have something placed in the paper.
Well.
Is it also on our website?
Yeah, he said it's on.
Jim has worked with us in the past on updating that as needed, so we can certainly get with him if some
No,
changes.
the website I'm talking about is the IDEA,
Yeah.
the Indiana Department of Veterans Affairs.
But yeah, we
I
can get
think
something on
we need
ours
it
as
on
well.
ours also,
Sure.
to let people know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Delaware County Government 911 Center communication letter to the mayor about termination of the interlocal agreement. The commissioners have been working with the city of Muncie and the 911 board to come to an agreement to still keep the 911 board in place. And I know the mayor has asked for this letter. John has retyped it. One of them is we will add another person onto the 911 board, since Jason Rogers is actually right now holds 2 spots because he holds emergency management. He also holds for our EMS services. And I believe in there that it's going to state that Jason will still stay on the EMA, and we will ask for one from EMS to fill that position.
Just to clarify, when the board was created, those were separate positions.
Correct.
And in, I think 13, they became a dual role, and it was not stipulated how that would be handled in the board, so there was always some kind of question whether that was a 1-vote position or 2-vote position. And I think this is one of the things that are going to work out to make sure that everybody is equally represented from all the emergency services.
Correct. I believe also in that letter it's going to state that the Delaware County Commissioners, we will not pay for attorney fees for the 911 board. The letter was sent to the mayor, was not sent to the 911 board. the 911 board hiring an attorney. Don't really know why, but it will state in that letter that we will not accept any claims or anything from their attorney. If that is correct, Joe?
Yep, well, basically because the county pays personnel expenses, so this letter will just say this is not gonna be considered a personnel expense.
I'd like to have a motion and a second to send that letter out.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Steve, can you call the roll?
Mr. Henry.
Yes.
Ms. Reagan.
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes. I have also asked our attorney, John Brook, to type up a letter to send to the mayor concerning ambulance services. It's come to our attention that the city of Muncie is looking into possibly, I don't know if they're going to lease, sign a contract with another ambulance service, or if they are going to create one themselves. But with our emergency services, our Delaware County EMS being in the fire union, I believe, and contracts are coming up, we need to know something. I'm sure our Delaware County EMS workers would also like to know if this is going to come about, because it would affect them. So I'm asking for another motion, a second, to send this letter out to the mayor also.
Can I comment?
Yep.
Mr. Roysden wrote an article in the paper this weekend that was spot on. It was a good article, and it was spot on. And on social media, the city of Muncie, they commented that they wasn't looking at doing this to try to save Muncie firefighter jobs. They were wanting to do this because of response times. And I have been talking with Jason about response times. Jason, could you comment on that a little bit, please?
Yes, Commissioner Henry reached out to me and asked me this morning if I could give some statistics on what response times would be within Center Township. One thing I would preface by saying, in their press release, they had indicated that there was only one EMS station, and that's not correct. We have 3 EMS stations within Center Township, and the other 2 are just outside of Center Township. Those being Station 1 is at 401 East Jackson, Station 2 is at 8900 West Smith Street in Yorktown. Station 3 is at 4501 East Memorial Drive, which is out at the bypass. Station 4 is at 400 North of Wheeling, and Station 4 is a cohabitation with Hamilton Township's Fire Department, and Station 5 is at Baltimore Hospital. Those response times for within, just looking at those that are within the city of Muncie and within Center Township, with a plus or minus average, the average response time is going to be about 5 minutes. That is from time dispatch receives the call till our arrival. I can't tell you, I talked to Director Singleton this morning, what their average is on handling a 911 call and how long it takes them to get it dispatched. So that's collecting the information, talking a 911 caller through any medical issues that they may be giving CPR instructions or pre-arrival instructions for the bystanders. So I don't know what that time is, but from what we can ascertain from immediate reporting is time that they receive the call to the time that we arrive. On average within Center Township is 5 minutes. Now obviously some of those are going to be much shorter, some of them are going to be a little longer, but we would say consistently that is a 5-minute response time. To give that some a little bit of understanding where we are at nationally, the NFPA, the National Fire Protection Agency, that is a United States trade association that creates and maintains private copyrighted standards and codes for the use and adoption by local governments. So our NFPA standards is what we look at as a nationwide standard. NFPA 1710 states that the standard for organization and deployment of fire suppression operations, emergency medical operations, and special operations to the public by a career fire department. 2010, first responder was 90% in 4 minutes, and ALS, advanced life support emergency care, the standard was 90% within 8 minutes. So we're well below the national NFPA standard by at least 3 minutes, and that may be even less once we actually sit down with Director Singleton and look at what those average times are for the dispatch. So it's a very small slice of that pie. There's obviously a plus or minus in there with any reporting errors, and we're just looking at the raw data yet this morning. So that is our average response time from time someone calls 911 until they're actually talking to one of our paramedics.
So it seemed to me that their press release that they gave after Mr. Royston released his article is also inaccurate.
There are inaccuracies in the press release, yes. The one thing that I can tell you that I am pretty proud of is we've looked at how long it takes our crews once dispatched to actually get out the door, and that is an average of 40 seconds. That 40 seconds is not just within the city of Muncie, but that is for all 16,000 responses in 2016.
Congratulations.
Well, I think you guys do a great job, and I would hope that the city officials see that you guys are doing an outstanding job, and hopefully they don't try to switch that up. I think that would, starting an ambulance service, taking that big of a chore on, I don't think would be a good idea. So, but I appreciate you guys. Let your guys know.
We will do that. I want to read to you, I received this late Friday. It was an email from what I would call a satisfied customer, somebody that called 911. And I will forego the name because I didn't warn them that I was going to do this, but her description of her medical incident is that she was out cold. She had a blood sugar of 25. She didn't remember anything. She had fallen and had a heavy vacuum on top of her legs that caused a horrible wound because it was running. And she said, one of the medics talked to me like I was family. We talked about things like the Cheesecake Factory. She goes on to talk about what their experience was and how it was amazing. And she said, I hope that he stays this way his entire career. He's very personable, had a sense of humor, and I received the best care possible. So those types of things come into us all the time, and we usually pass them on to just the employees. But I think obviously it's important that the public knows that they are getting a premier EMS service currently. I'm going to stay out of the political side of that because I'm very proud of what they do, and I think we're going to highlight what they do to educate the public even a little bit more here in the near future, because I want everybody to make this decision with open eyes and actually do it for the betterment of emergency services, providing the utmost professional services that we can provide. I'm not saying that anybody else wouldn't, but I can tell you that Delaware County EMS is a model for EMS in the state, and we have had other Class 2 cities reach out to us to send their paramedics here to train them how we do things. So I think that is a testament to our staff, a testament to the administrators below me, and it's always true that you surround yourself with good people, and I have at least 45 outstanding individuals that work underneath me.
Thank you, Justin.
Thanks.
And one of the other things too is, who's going to if it's leased to a private company, maybe you can answer this, Paul. Who would dispatch them? Would they go through us, or would there be another number that the city would have to call to get the services?
All 911 calls would come in through the center.
Then you guys would have to make a...
How that's handled, it would either be if it's fire, dispatch it through them. If it's a third-party vendors, we could have to transfer that call.
And see, these are questions that probably need to be answered, because I'm sure the citizens of Muncie and Delaware County would like to know, if the EMS services are changed around here, how are they going to be dispatched?
It's the same things that we talked about on the other split.
Right.
You know, how was that going to be dispatched?
Right.
How are 911 calls going to be handled?
Correct.
I'll make a motion, we send the letter.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Jason, do you have anything else, or are you waiting?
I just have, go ahead, if you want to take your vote, there's just something else I want to bring to light.
Steve, can you call the roll, please?
Ms. Reagan,
Yes.
Mr. Henry,
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes. Yeah, Jason.
In their press release, they talk about the second-class cities that they're reaching out to see what kind of services are being provided. And I just received this email that has some information I asked one of the administrators to look up. And it's kind of interesting. It's listed by the rank of population for the city. Obviously, Indianapolis is number one. They did a consolidation years ago and it did not work within the fire department. They had to create their own Indianapolis EMS. Because Marion County is all inside the city of Indianapolis, they're essentially created that third-party EMS service. City of Fort Wayne has Three Rivers Ambulance Authority, which is a third-party EMS as well. So let's look more at some second-class, what I would consider a second-class city, and I don't have the definition in front of me, but sister cities to us, as an example, Bloomington, that has a population of 84,000, does not have fire-based EMS. They're run by IU Health, the hospital, and they are a county-wide service. Lafayette has 71,700 people. Their EMS is provided by Franciscan Hospital. Of course, then there's Muncie with Delaware County. Kokomo has 57,799 people, and they are run by Howard Community Hospital EMS. So now there are a few. Noblesville is fire-based EMS, but they don't have a service to do it. Terre Haute is fire-based EMS. They don't have another service to do it. Gary is fire-based EMS. They don't have another service that's either already doing it or to do it. So I see that, you know, in years past, there was a need. I myself was in the firefighters union, Delaware County EMS, Muncie Fire Local 1348 for many years. And I remember two union meetings where we talked about fire and EMS consolidating, and it was a resounding no between the union members at that time. So it's been discussed. And I say we because I was one of the paramedics on the street at that time. We didn't want that to happen. We knew that we would provide better service and our employment would be better handled the way that it is currently. And I personally feel that that's probably the way that it should stay, because we have all the gears in place to run this well-oiled machine. So just in those comparisons, I think you'll see that starting from scratch is going to be a monumental task, and it would. Essentially, you're not going to do it without some hookups and some hiccups, excuse me. But there certainly is something to look at that as busing with the kids, and this is far more important. So it certainly raises a lot of eyebrows, a lot of concerns, and I can quite frankly tell you that many of my employees are very, very concerned about losing their jobs. If this were to happen and they were to start their own EMS service, we're looking at roughly 70% of our call volume being within the city of Muncie, and that would absolutely require a reduction in force. So we would not be maintaining all of those employees. Hence, the union agreement is a key portion of what we need to do, because it dictates how those individuals currently would be laid off if there was going to be a RIF. And we have to look out for the entire county and all of the unincorporated areas as well as the towns, and the union agreement at this time does not take into account anything other than providing entire county service. So with that being on the horizon, it's absolutely a necessity that we get some answers whether or not this is a real possibility, and our ability to negotiate with the union is at stake. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? We'll move on down to weekly reports. Everybody got their report from Weights and Measures? Go to payment of claims in the amount of $1,531,489.35.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and second to pay claims. Steve, can you call the roll?
Mr. Henry.
Yes.
Ms. Reagan.
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes. Have any questions, comments, anything from the public? If not, I'll entertain a motion to recess.
Moved.
Second.
A motion and second. Steve, can you call the roll?
Ms. Reagan.
Yes.
Mr. Henry.
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes, done recess.